Hi, and welcome to The Parent Equation with me, Aisha Murray. I'm a coach and I primarily support working parents and carers who believe that parenthood shouldn't be a barrier to a successful and fulfilling career. In this podcast series, I chat to inspirational working parents and ask them to share their own experiences of raising children alongside their careers. We talk about the struggles and the moments of joy. And I hope in each episode there's something that can bring you a bit more strength and positivity. So please follow, listen and subscribe on all major platforms. So welcome to The Parent Equation, and today I have Lee Houghton with me, and it's a great pleasure to have Lee on. Lee is a business improvement coach and problem solver. So we'll find out about what that means later, and a fellow podcast host. So welcome, Lee. Thank you so much for being here.
No, the pleasure is all mine. Thanks very much for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Good. So just to get started, can you tell me a little brief history, I guess, about your career journey, where you started and how you got to where you are now as this self-professed problem solver?
A self-professed problem solver, yeah. So I'm a little bit disappointed you said brief history, because I can talk. Okay. I can talk for this for a long period of time. But basically, 15, 16 years ago, it was seen as a development opportunity for me to move into problem solving. So I was working in the civil service, and my manager said to me, "So I think you'd be great for this opportunity." And at that point in time, I was also DJing as well. So I also had I was DJing, and I just started. I'm just about to get into bouncy castles as well. So I had this like dual life.
Yeah.
I was DJ, bouncy castle person, out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I had this serious job working in the civil service. I'm trying to improve that. And then I got to a point where I had a decision to make of which avenue do I go down, and I chose I chose this one rather than the entertainment one. And honestly, I've not looked back since. So my dad said I'd never had a proper job whilst I was working in the civil service. So after a good number of years, and really when I knew what I wanted to do, and that was to help people improve, I thought, right, I want my CV now to try to demonstrate I can do it in different sectors. So I went on that quest to try to do that, which is then I went to telecommunications, went into logistics to try it in different sectors. And then I wanted to be brave, and I wanted to have my own business as well, but I didn't have the balls to do it. So I went as a permanent consultant for a consultancy for a period of time, which is where I met my business partner. And then about 2 years ago, I had a life-changing moment, which was the ultimate kick up the bum, which made me then really question what I was doing. And I took the leap with my business partner to set up the business, and that's where I am today, doing what I do, and absolutely loving it.
Great.
That's probably about the briefest I could have done that. Apologies.
That was pretty brief. So why did you not go down the bouncy castle DJ route? I'm quite interested to understand why.
Yeah, me too as well sometimes. So the honest answer is because I'd seen what it did to my dad. So my dad DJ'd as well, and he was like, probably at the time, he's 67 now. So about 10 years ago, he was like Friday nights and Saturday nights, like leaving me mum and going and setting up his discos and doing that, coming back at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, I don't really want to be doing that on a Friday and Saturday night. I want to end, and that's why I've got a young family now. So I've got a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. And I thought, I really don't want to be leaving my family. I mean, no credit to my dad. I love my dad to pieces, and I wouldn't be now without him and his choices. And I thought, I don't want to be doing that. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to spend time with my children. So as much as I do regret it, in terms of there's certain things that I got a buzz from, like a full dance floor. I mean, I dressed as a monkey for 18 months. And
don't ask why.
No, it's a long story. But I've had some amazing times, but it's also taught me a hell of a lot as well about customer experience and delighting people. And so I believe I've had the most varied experience to get to where I am today. But I'm trying to learn all of the lessons through that time. So the reason why I didn't do it is because I didn't want to be 50, 60 years old, working late on a Friday and Saturday night, and missing so much with my kids, because I've sacrificed missing a lot of stuff with my kids already. Doing what I do is in this professional thing, so I was working away Monday to Friday, but I didn't want to do it at weekend. I didn't see myself doing it at weekends. That's the simple answer.
Yeah, and I think I heard you on a different podcast talking about this actually, and you mentioned then that the euphoria that you brought to people when you were DJing, and that is at that moment, the full dance floor, sadly not at the moment, but previous life, that was a moment in time for those people. Yes. But the career choice you then went on with the business improvement was a much longer term positive impact.
Yeah, completely. Because when you're playing a song and you play that song and you hear the screams, it's not your music, but you've played that song and you've evoked emotion in people, and they come dashing to the dance floor, or you can see them sat down singing along and smiling and beaming, and you think you're contributing to an amazing night for that person or for those people, and you're creating memories for them, but you're just playing a part in that. But now what I get to do is to, if somebody's on a path, on a journey, maybe they're a leader or a facilitator of change in a business, if I can change their thinking or challenge their thinking just a little bit and shift it, then, and allow them to be even better than they already are, then that's amazing. I can't put into words what it is, but it's like life changing for them and me.
Yeah, that's great to hear your passion about it. I think everyone aspires to have that passion about what they do for a living. I think not all of us achieve it, so.
But I think that's quite interesting in itself, though, isn't it? Really, the passion, because people always say, "Oh, find your passion, find what it is that and is it a career? Is it a feel? What is it, and how do you find that passion?" And mine has always been through people, whether it was DJing or whether it's that. So that was always my passion, irrelevant of what I was doing. Yeah. And I've just been able to carry the passion and love of people through the different things that I've done. So yeah, I'm really fortunate to have had the journey and the lessons that I've had to get me to this podcast with you today.
Yeah, well, you say fortunate, but you've done it. You've made the choices to get you to where you are.
Yeah, okay, they are my choices. They are my choices, and I think life is all about choices, isn't it? But some people, they just allow themselves just to coast through the life and maybe not make that choice or make that difficult choice. Yeah. I had the opportunity to speak to author Damien Hughes. I don't know whether you're familiar with his work. And he said that when he spoke to Dame Kelly Holmes, she mentioned a moment in her past where she had a moment where a teacher told her something and believed in her, and that was he called it a golden seed moment. So I think Freud categorized these as golden seed moments, the life-changing events that shape what you do and how you go forward. And I think some people recognize those golden seed moments. Yeah. Some people recognize them but don't do anything about them, and some people, their eyes aren't open enough to see them as well. So I think we all have these choices to make, but whether we see them and take them is different. So
and I think people don't always think that they're valuable enough to make certain choices, or they have to go down a certain path because that's what's expected of them. Yes. And that's the role they have to fulfill, whereas actually they don't feel potentially enough self-worth to say, actually, I can do more, I deserve more. I've got a course called Creating Confident Change Leaders. There's going to be it's going to transition as well. There's going to be another spin-off next year called Creating Confident People Leaders. And the first module of that is recognizing that change starts with you. And I think that if we all recognize that it's everything that we want to be is within ourselves first, then that's the right platform, isn't it? Yeah. So because I got a tattoo. I don't know whether. So this is just audio, is it? It's just the audio, but you can show me now, and I'll maybe explain it to the listeners.
Yeah. So as you can see on my arm here, there's about 2 inches or 1.5 inches of missing at the bottom of my arm.
Bare
my
wrist.
Sleeve.
Yeah, bare wrist. Yeah.
Because when I went for my first tattoo, I was really self-conscious about what people would think of somebody with a tattoo. So because I had a serious job as well as a not so serious job, I thought I'm trying to combine the two worlds here. How can I do it? And I really wanted to express myself and get some tattoos that were meaningful for me. But so I went into the tattoo studio and I said, can you just start it like about 2 inches up my arm, because I wear shirts at work and I don't want people to know.
Yes. Good plan.
And because so at that point in time, I thought it was a good plan. But then reflecting back, I wasn't really being true to myself, and I wasn't, and I was kind of. So I use that now as a metaphor.
Yeah.
Because when I meet people now, I'm not really bothered what they think of me. Obviously, I am bothered what people think of me, but I'm not really. I'm more comfortable in my own skin now than I have ever been before. And this tattoo is just a reminder of actually you really used to be more bothered about what other people thought of you than what you thought of yourself. So there you go. Sorry for the digression.
It's all right. There's no plans then to fill in that bare wrist with anything else.
Yeah, I keep getting told to all the time, but because of what it means to me, and because it's a memory, and I think there's so much that happens in life that you need to remember and learn from. That for me is just a constant reminder of always being myself.
Yeah,
because I didn't used to be always myself, and that's just a mental thing now. When I look at my wrist and go, there's the gap again.
That's what it used to be.
That's what it used to be. That's what it used. And then I went on a journey of using it as a barometer of how comfortable I am with people. So the first time I would meet them, I would wear long sleeves. The second time I would meet them, I would roll them up a little bit just to give them a little sneaky peek to see whether they would judge me or not. But then now I'm not bothered about that because I'm really comfortable and confident with who I am, what I'm doing, and how I'm going about it.
And it's a journey. So, it takes time, doesn't it, to feel comfortable in yourself? It takes a long time.
Dead right.
Yeah.
Dead right. And I think it's different for everybody as well, isn't it? So some people, they're really comfortable in their own skin from a really young age. Some people have had certain events and things that have happened that makes them not comfortable in their own skin. As I mentioned, I've got a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. My boy, my eldest one, he's far more sensitive than my youngest child. So he worries about other people more than my daughter does. And I think we just got to recognise that everybody's different and they will all learn at different paces and different times as well.
Yeah, and I think also we have to really not compare ourselves to other people. So you said that people are potentially more comfortable in their own skin from a younger age, but that's the impression they're giving to the outside world. And actually, who knows what's going on inside them
completely
and how they're feeling. So I think the comparison thing causes a lot of issues for people. Again, saying they're better than me, why are they doing that, why can't I do that? And we need to get rid of that as much as possible. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors and inside people. We just have to, as you said, be true to ourselves and keep ourselves centered, I guess, on that.
Completely. I'm a big believer of thoughts driving behavior and the power of your thoughts and then manifesting themselves in the outside world in terms of what behaviors that you're displaying. And I think nobody knows what anybody's thinking at any point in time. So I have a slide at the end of my courses, and it says that it's a quote from Socrates, and I think it's credited with Socrates anyway. And Socrates said, "I cannot teach anybody anything. I can only make them think." And that's all we're trying to do. Which, if we can try to make somebody think more positively, or just divert their thinking a little bit in a more positive way, it's up to them whether they allow that lesson in or don't allow that lesson in. You can just try to make them think about it, and then they've got to act upon that. But nobody knows what anybody's thinking.
No, and it's their life, so they have to live it for themselves.
That's right.
With guidance, fair enough, but they have to ultimately make their own decisions, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah. So you touched on earlier, just at the beginning there, you touched on the fact that you worked away a lot, you travelled a lot, or in your current job, in your current sort of company. So how did that impact, I suppose, the relationship you had with your kids, and how's that changed since lockdown? Because I know obviously you spent more time at home, as we all have. Yeah,
it was horrible. It was horrible in February. So if I think about my last 2 years, so when I started my business, the start of a business, you've got the certain pressures that you need to earn money to fill the pot, to give you some security and confidence that you can move forward. So My business partner was working in a client, so that was all good. And then because we were so fresh as a business, I made a conscious decision to become an associate consultant with another consultant there, just to give us a little bit of security. And that required me to work away, and I was working away for 14 months, Monday to Friday, in South Wales. So I would wake up 4 o'clock on a Monday morning, and I would go away and then come back Friday late, about tea time-ish, on a Friday. Every Sunday night, my little boy cried. For 14 months, he cried, and it was all my doing, because he'd go, "Daddy, be away again." So in February, I made a conscious decision. I'm going, I've got my own business. I'm making my boy cry so what can I do? So I'm sure there's some businesses in the north of England that would want some help and support, or maybe I can help and support in other ways. So that's why I said to the company I was working on behalf of, I said, I want to be at home now. I want to spend time with my family. I want to invest in them. And little did I know that a month later that I wouldn't be allowed to leave the house. So you kind of got to be careful what you wish for, haven't you?
Yeah, you do.
But it has been amazing to be able. So in February, I took my boy to Beavers on a Monday night for the very first time, and saw him in his little Beavers outfit. I took him swimming for the first time on a Wednesday night in February as well. Took my girl to gymnastics for the very first time, and for me to say that that's the very first time that I've done it is a terrible thing to say. And the way that I'm justifying it in my head is, well, if I wasn't earning the money, they wouldn't have been able to do it. But it's not a justification for missing out on so many things.
It's not, but again, it's a decision you made in the past for what would have been the right reasons then.
Yeah, no, correct. Yeah, correct. And I think so now I get to see them. I get to put them to bed most evenings. I get to take them to school every now and again, but it's allowing me to try to. So in fact, 4 months ago, we've now started this thing, and every morning. So I want them to be more positive in their mindset and stuff, and I want them to just start to say more positive things to themselves, whether they understand or don't understand what we're saying. Then hopefully over time they'll start to understand a deeper meaning of some of these things. So we always sing a song every morning now going, "I'm happy, I'm myself, and I always do my best." Woo! So we always do that every morning. And it's got to a place now where the kids, they start it before they go to school, or when we're in the car on the way to the school, that we're singing it together. And I think they're smiling when they're saying it. So that's a positive. Yeah. And if they're going into school thinking, I'm always going to do my best, or I'm always going to be myself, or I'm always I'm going to be happy, then that's amazing. That's all I want for them in their life, no matter what it is that they do. I just want them to be happy. I just want them to be themselves, and I just want them to always do the best, irrelevant of whatever else they do. But I don't think they understand what always being yourself is, because I don't think I've understood what it's been.
I don't know how you explain that to anybody, actually, adults or child. It's a very hard concept to grasp, I think.
It is. It is. And authenticity is kind of spread about as a word. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Be authentic. Be authentic you. And do you mind if I digress like even deeper? No, is that all right?
Of course.
All right, perfect. Apologies. So the real the actual catalyst for me starting my business 2 years ago was do you have a friend that no matter whether you don't see him for a day, or don't see him for a week, or don't see him for a month, that it's like you've never been apart?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, perfect. So I've got one of them. Got a guy called Chris, and then 2 years ago, I got a phone call to say that I needed to come home as quick as I possibly could, because Chris had taken a turn for the worst. And so I was working on a client site. This was in my time as an employed consultant. I got on a train, dashed up north, got out at Preston train station, got in a taxi, went to the hospice where he was lying down. And
so why was he, just a bit of background, why was he in a hospice? What was the story before that, briefly?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he had lymphoma.
Okay.
He had 3 different types of cancer, and melanoma got him in the end. And when I burst through the hospice doors, he was lying there, frailer and paler than he was just 3 days before. We hugged, and I sent everybody away. We had a conversation, and I agreed to stay that night because I'd been working away. And at 10 to 8 in the morning, after lying on the couch, having a chat with him and stuff, at 10 to 8 in the morning, I went to the bathroom because my breakfast was due at 8 o'clock. And I left the bathroom, and his chest expanded. And then that was it. He'd chosen that moment to take his last breath. And the week that followed that was probably my most reflective. And he was 39 then.
Very young.
Yeah, frighteningly young. And I thought to myself that actually, so I'm 39 now. I was 38 then. And if I'd have passed, and I'm telling my kids every morning and every week that they can be whatever they want to be when they grow up. And I was looking at myself going, well, you've not got your own business. You said you always wanted to do your own business. And are you really doing everything you want to be and do? And then I had an amazing opportunity. So I'm ever so grateful to Chris that when he was terminal, his perspective on life changed, and he offered me some money to set myself up in a consultancy, and I said no to him. But I said, what I'd love is 3 lessons through your eyes. Now your time limit, you've got that time limit on, and your perspective's changed. So over the weeks before he passed, he thought about these things, and these are what I was thinking about the week after he the week after he left us, about his 3 lessons, and how well did I actually know them? How well was I actually living them? And am I the right person to share his message? And all of these things were going through my head. So anyway, so thinking back to when I asked him for the 3 lessons, I went into the hospital one day, and he said, Lee, I've come up with the first lesson. He said when him and an ex-partner were separating, he tried to be the person that he thought she wanted him to be, but he wasn't happy, she wasn't happy, and they ended up splitting up. So he went, no matter what, just always be yourself, right? Well, that was his first lesson. And then for the last 2 years, I've been thinking, well, what is always be myself? So I've got my little metaphor about me tattoo on my arm and stuff, which was from before that. And we mentioned, or we touched on earlier on, that thoughts drive behavior. So when he said it was about a situation that he'd had that made him unhappy. But what I really understand now about always being yourself is controlling and mastery of the thoughts in your head that then manifest themselves in the outside world. So always being yourself for me is really understanding it all starts in thoughts, and then that drives behavior. So how well do you understand what the voice in your head is saying, and how much of control do you have of that? So that's his first lesson. And then the second lesson, a couple of weeks afterwards, I think it was at a hospital at the time, and I went in to see him, and he went, when we were growing up, we could have chose different paths, and we could have chose different friends, and we didn't. We stayed together. And one of our other mates rings him at 12 o'clock on the dot as soon as he goes for his lunch break, and he said, no matter what, just always make good friends. Just make good friends, because you never know when you're going to need them. So for the last 2 years, I'm trying to take that now and take it to another level and go, actually, it's just all about relationships. Everybody you meet is an opportunity to make a better friend, connection, client, customer. It's just all about relationships and people. And then we had the opportunity to go to watch the Foo Fighters at the Etihad Stadium. And on the way back from that, so Chris had 2 boys, a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old. And the youngest one said, is it too late for me and my dad to go to Anfield, because he supports Liverpool? And said, can we take Lee, me, and my boy, Jack? And so that was on the Thursday. I got a phone call that Thursday night to say that had been requested. Yeah. So we rang up Anfield. We arranged a tour for the Sunday. It was an amazing day. Liverpool Football Club were unbelievable, and we were well looked after. We had a private tour. We wheeled him around in the wheelchair. We had ice creams afterwards. We had so many laughs. And then in the car on the way home, we had the 3 boys sat behind us. And he went, I so wished I could have done this without being wheeled around. I so wished I didn't have to sit in there and could have got out of the chairs like you did, and not in any pain and all of that. So he said time's limited. time's limited. So it was on thinking about those three things: always be yourself, make good friends, time is limited, in that reflective period that really kick-started my business, or my desire to have a business and follow my passion and stuff. That's the catalyst for me starting a podcast and really getting a deeper understanding of those three things, are what's driving me in what I do now. So I'm really sorry, I've forgotten what your question was.
I think I have too.
And that might be the world's longest answer and wrong answer to a question. But yeah, so I just wanted to share that because we've been talking about authenticity and always being yourself, and I think really mastery of the thoughts is key to that.
Yeah, and I think the question, actually, whatever that question was, is probably irrelevant given what you've just shared, because I think obviously the impact that Chris has had on you in his three lessons for you, I guess, and for your life. The fact that you now want to share those lessons with people and share Chris's message even further. So yes, that question, the original question, is absolutely relevant, and I can't remember what it was, but just touching on the people aspects and the people you meet and the friendships you make. Then I think, like you said, everybody you meet in life, every single person you come into contact with has some kind of impact on your life, don't they? However small. Some, of course, much more than others. And I think, as well as making really good friends, something I think have learned over the years and learned to be more comfortable with is also not having people in your life who drain the good energy from you and who potentially are quite toxic and who don't cause you to have positive feelings about things. So I think being confident to know who to stick with and who not to stick with, I think for me it was as important as I got older.
Yeah, no, I agree completely, and that's what you can read a whole number of books, and it says identify those people that sap your energy, bring you down, and stuff, and do what you can to cut them out. But ultimately, it comes back to choices as well, doesn't it? So it's your choice to keep them or lose them. It's your choice to allow into your head the negativity that they're saying and sharing. So yeah, it just depends on how much of a choice you want to make at that point in time, and how close that person is to you. But yeah, it's yes, there are those people, and it's a choice for what you do with those people.
Them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And talking about the thoughts, mastering your thoughts, I suppose it's also a very hard thing to do. I think to understand how you can start to master your own thoughts, but we're all full of gremlins in our heads for various reasons and various things that go on in our lives. So do you have any advice or tips of how you've started to at least make some forward movement into mastering your own thoughts? Yeah, it's a pretty tricky area.
It is. Yeah, it is. And I think I need to caveat that with, I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. But I think by understanding an individual situation is key. So what I mean by that is, if you can pick a situation that you want to be more comfortable in, more confident in, and then describe that situation. So describe what actually happens in the world at that point in time. Do your palms go sweaty? Do you go bright red? Does your heart beat faster? So understand that first, what is actually manifesting itself in the outside world, and then understand how that makes you feel. And then when you've got that feeling, then I would go as well, then what's driving that feeling? So what you're thinking about that feeling and that situation, maybe thinking about before you go into that situation, whilst you're in that situation, and then after that situation. So an example, let's make this real actually. So there was a guy I was working with who wanted to be a more confident speaker. And so I did this situation. I said, okay, let's describe it, and then understand how long has been a situation for. Then let's describe it in what's manifesting itself in the outside world. And how does that make you feel? And then before you're asked to speak, so if your manager was now to come and speak to you, what would you be saying to yourself before? And then you're asked to speak, and what you're saying to yourself during, and what you're saying to yourself after. So he was saying to himself stuff like, I can't do it, I'm going to forget my words, I don't like this, I'm going red, my heart's beating fast. So he's saying all of these things to himself. And I was like, this is a feedback loop that you're in this. So because you're saying this, this is what's happening. And what we need to do is try to break that feedback loop in your mind. So then we try to flip it and go, well, when would you like it to be resolved by? And then what would you like to happen then? And then work that through to the thoughts and what you need to say yourself to make that a reality. And I think going through that exercise is all good and well, going, this is an understanding of where we are now and this is where we want to be. But for me, the real question is, why is that important to you? Why do you want to stop that feeling, or why do you want to change from where you are to where you want to be? And having a reason big enough and strong enough to do it is the only way that it'll change, because it's not a straight line to go from this side to that side. You've got to have some incentive, motivation to move you from it. So I think it was Tony Robbins that introduced this to me about pleasure and pain. He says the two biggest motivations for people are either to feel pleasure or to overcome pain. Right. And I used to say that my motivation and the reason why I do everything I do is to show Chris's 3 lessons. And everybody's always resonated and bought in with those 3 lessons and stuff. Yeah, that's a really big reason. But then when I've critically looked at the pleasure and I've asked it from a pleasure pain perspective, I actually realised that the reason why I do what I do is because Chris is with me, and the last thing I want to do is lose him for a second time. So the reason why I do what I do is so that I don't lose Chris for a second time. It's not just to share his lessons, it's really selfishly, so I don't grieve for him again and I don't lose him again.
And it keeps him close to you, doesn't it?
Keeps him close to me. So having that as a motivation is the thing that allows me to go from left to right. And so I would always get people to understand an individual situation before and after, but then really drill down on the pleasure pain reason why. And if that reason why is big enough, you've got a chance of success. If it's not, then do you really want to move from one side to the other side? Yeah,
and I'm sure it's someone else's words. I'm probably going to plagiarize here, but finding your why and what you really want to do and why you want to do it. If you know what that is, you've got that nailed, then you'll work out how afterwards. But the why is so important, and that comes before the how, which I think actually makes sense, doesn't it, when you sort of say it out loud?
No, it does. And it's like so I've got this, I think I mentioned at the start, Creating Confident Change Leaders course, and I've just come off the back of another cohort, and part of that process, I take them through one of these templates that we've got, and I ask them, well, what situations do you want to be more confident in? And then why do you want to be, and then we get to the top right hand box, and why is this important to move from here to here? And they say, well, I want to do a good job, or I want to get more money, or I want to get promotion. And I always then challenge that with the pleasure and pain, and it's always something different. It's not about more money. It's not about a new job or doing a good job. There's something. So people have gone back to when they've been bullied at school, or the way that a previous manager has made them feel. So if you can attach an emotion to it, it's far more powerful. Overcoming fear or achieving pleasure, I think are the key motivators to really moving forward. But then understanding an individual situation and breaking that down to the thoughts, I think it is key.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, the emotional thoughts are key, because we all say, again, what people want to hear when we're asked a question about that. So because my manager wants me to, well, that's because we expected to say that. But actually, when you take that away and break it right down and go into that person, into those emotions, that's when you get the truth, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. The brain is a really clever thing, isn't it? So it remembers things in pictures and emotions, ultimately. So if I was to say yellow lemon, a number of people can then visualize a yellow lemon. You don't see the words yellow lemon in your head, because the brain categorizes things in. And then if I was to ask you what is your oldest child, and we'll not do this now, but if I was to ask you what your oldest childhood memory is, you would be able to think about something from a long time ago. And if I was to ask you, what did you have for your lunch 2 weeks ago on a Tuesday, it's a lot more difficult to think about than maybe something from many, many years ago.
Yeah.
But then if I got you to describe your oldest childhood memory, there'll be a smell or a taste or you'll hear something because your brain remembers things in pictures and emotions.
Yeah.
And that's why that's so key for everything that we do, the emotion and the reason why we do it.
My memory is terrible. So if anyone asks me about anything to do with my childhood, it's nothing. It's like a void.
Oh, wow.
It is, genuinely. I'm not lying. It's bizarre. So I'm almost, I think maybe I should have some kind of hypnotherapy. There must be something blocking it that I need to uncover, because yes, it's pretty much, which actually makes my life quite easy. I can move on from situations quite easily because it's very easily forgotten. It sounds terrible, but anyway. So Lee, thank you so much. I think we're probably running out of time because we could, as you said, talk for hours and hours and hours. So I could probably have a sort of Lee episode 1, 2, 3 series, I imagine, or entirely separate podcast.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll talk about that another day.
Yeah, completely.
So thank you. I don't know if there's any last sort of thoughts or inspiration you wanted to share. I think mainly it's just Chris's 3 lessons, I think, for everyone to take away and start to do.
Yeah, no, completely. I think it's about people understanding these 3 things and what they mean to them individually. Because when Chris said them to me, he said them based on his experience, and he had stories behind all 3 of them. Then I've got them, and I'm learning more and more about them. So I think it's not necessarily taking Chris's 3 lessons and just taking them at face value. It's about understanding what they mean to everybody individually. Because if somebody is lying on or has got a few weeks left, and when they're really critically looking at their life and they're coming together with the 3 things that they believe are most important, then I think it's about understanding how we can move forward with those. So first one, always be yourself. So what does that mean to you? What does that mean about your thoughts? Second one, make good friends, but it's not just friends, it's all relationships. And then the third one is time is limited. So because there's so many people that want to start a new diet on Monday, or want to start a new diet on the 1st of January or whatever. Why not start now? What's preventing you from stopping now? And the thing that's probably preventing people from moving forward is that they've not got a big enough reason why. So question, pleasure and pain. Yeah. So I think those are the 3 or 4 things that I think are the most important thing that drive me forward as well. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing also a very personal story. So that is something that, again, if we can make other people benefit from Chris's lessons, then so much the better. Yeah. Then if people want to get hold of you, Lee, for life lessons or business improvement or problem solving, what's the best way to get hold of you?
Yeah, so thank you. The easiest way is via LinkedIn. So I'm all over LinkedIn. So it's just Lee Houghton on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. And the business is Get Knowledge. So GET knowledge.co.uk. And like I said, that's we work with business leaders to help them reduce their costs whilst delighting their people and customers. And the things that we've mentioned today, so Chris's 3 lessons are dripping all the way through everything we do for businesses, and also everything we do for change leaders and people leaders as well. So so it's getknowledge.co.uk or it's LinkedIn are the easiest 2 things. But yeah,
lovely. Thank you very much, Lee. It was great to have you on. Have a great day.
No, pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
Take
See
care.
you later.
Bye. Bye. I so enjoyed chatting to Lee today. He is so full of energy and passion and positivity. And I really, really hope that the 3 messages that he is trying to share with the world resonated with you and you can take something from it. So thank you so much for listening. Remember to like, follow and subscribe on all major platforms, and I look forward to seeing you next time.